Why do we seek the approval of others so desperately, even knowing it can enslave us? It's a question that has accompanied us since the earliest moments of society. The need to be accepted, loved, and recognized. However, this pursuit can become a trap, robbing us of freedom and preventing us from living fully. Inspired by the teachings of the courage to be disliked, let us explore the impact of the desire for approval in our lives and how the simple act of letting go can transform how we see the world, our relationships, and, most importantly, ourselves. If happiness is within our grasp, why do we so often choose unhappiness? Could it be because we fear rejection? Let us dive into a journey of reflection to understand the paths that lead us to shed the weight of others' opinions and, finally, gain the courage to be who we truly are. The weight of others' opinions, when life is shaped by approval. From an early age, we are taught to seek validation, a parent's approving smile, a high grade in school, or even popularity among friends. These small achievements seem harmless, but over time, they shape our perception of who we are and who we should be. The problem begins when the weight of others' opinions starts to dictate our decisions, actions, and even dreams. We become hostages to expectations that don't always reflect what we truly desire. How many times have you made decisions based on what others might think? Perhaps you accepted a job you didn't want, pursued an academic path that didn't fulfill you, or maintained friendships that no longer made sense. This happens because we learn to associate our identity with external validation. Being accepted by others seems like the key to feeling a sense of belonging, worthiness, or even love. But at what cost? When we shape our lives to please others, we often sacrifice our authenticity. In exchange for approval, we wear masks that hide who we truly are. Ironically, even when we receive this validation, it is often insufficient. After all, people's expectations change, and the satisfaction that approval brings is temporary. Thus, we find ourselves in an endless race, trying to please everyone but ourselves. The problem is not only in the pursuit of approval, but also in its profound impact on our psyche and relationships. Living to please others places us in a constant state of anxiety. Did they like what I did? What do they think of me now? This constant worry pulls us away from true freedom and prevents us from building authentic connections. After all, if we are always trying to be who we think others want us to be, we never allow them to know our essence. Furthermore, the desire for approval turns our relationships into silent competitions. When we care too much about what others think, we begin to see them as rivals. If someone receives more praise, attention, or success, it may feel like a threat to our own value. This competitive mentality poisons relationships and prevents us from celebrating others' achievements. But why is it so difficult to abandon this need for validation? The answer lies in fear. Fear of rejection, exclusion, and being judged as inadequate. This fear keeps us trapped in a cycle of emotional dependence, where our worth is defined by others' gaze. However, the truth is that we can never please everyone, and trying to do so is a futile effort that only leads to frustration. The courage to be authentic, to not worry so much about what others think, requires a change in perspective. We must understand that external validation is not the measure of our worth. We are valuable simply because we exist, contribute with our abilities, and remain true to ourselves. This change begins with the acceptance that we will inevitably be criticized or rejected by some people. And that's okay. Freedom begins when we stop living to please and start living to be. Letting go of the weight of others' opinions doesn't mean ignoring people entirely. It means deciding who we want to be, regardless of external judgments. It is an act of courage, but also of self-love. It is choosing yourself, even if it means being misunderstood or even rejected. When we break free from the chains of approval, we discover a lighter world where our identity is no longer dependent on applause or criticism. Life stops being a stage and becomes a space of freedom, where we can explore, grow, and finally, simply be. This is not just a relief, it is a rebirth. The freedom of being you, when courage transforms happiness. Life changes completely when we stop seeking others' approval and start living authentically. For many, this moment feels like awakening from a deep sleep. A new world unfolds, full of possibilities that once seemed out of reach. However, this transformation demands something rare and powerful: courage. Courage to face judgment, to let go of perfection in others' eyes, and, most importantly, to embrace ourselves with all our imperfections. The idea of freedom is often misunderstood. Many believe freedom means doing whatever one wants, but true freedom lies in being who you are, without fear of others' opinions. When we allow ourselves to be authentic, a series of wonderful things begins to happen. Our choices align more closely with our values and desires, our relationships become deeper and more genuine, and, perhaps most importantly, we discover a happiness that is not fleeting. This happiness does not come from external circumstances, but from the fact that, for the first time, we are living in peace with ourselves. It is not a happiness based on others' acceptance, but on self-acceptance. Stopping the effort to please allows the people around us to see who we truly are. And this not only liberates us, but also gives them permission to do the same. However, embracing this freedom is not easy. It requires us to abandon the comfort of external validation and face vulnerability. After all, when we are authentic, we expose ourselves to the risk of rejection. But it is precisely in this risk that the beauty of life resides. To be authentic is to be human, and to be human is, by definition, to be imperfect. This journey also leads us to reconsider the concept of success. Success is often defined by external standards, status, wealth, or appearance. But in the pursuit of freedom, we realize that true success is living a life that resonates with our essence. It is knowing that we are living according to our principles, not to impress anyone, but because it makes sense to us. Another transformative effect of the freedom to be yourself is the shift in our relationships. When we stop seeking approval, we free others from the obligation to meet our expectations. This creates a space of acceptance and mutual respect, where relationships stop being transactions and become true connections. This transition does not happen overnight. Often, there is resistance, both from within and without. We might question ourselves. What if I regret it? What if people don't like the real me? These fears are natural but should not hold us back. The truth is that by freeing ourselves, we attract into our lives those who genuinely value us, not for who we appear to be, but for who we are. Moreover, learning to live authentically teaches us something fundamental. Happiness is not something we seek in the future. It is available now, in the present moment. We do not need to earn anyone's approval to feel complete. Fulfillment comes from within, from the simple fact of existing and contributing in our unique way to the world. This shift in mindset transforms not only our relationships with others, but also with ourselves. We stop being our harshest critics and become our greatest allies. This does not mean ignoring our flaws, but viewing them with compassion and using them as opportunities for growth. Ultimately, the freedom to be yourself is a gift no one can take away. It is a state of mind that strengthens us to face life's challenges with lightness and confidence. When we have the courage to accept ourselves and live according to our values, we discover that happiness is not a destination. It is a choice we can make every day. It is the choice to be free, to be authentic, to be you.